Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today, we're not going to be doing any type of review. We're going to be taking a bit of a break this week for that, but instead, we're going to be highlighting a few films that should definitely be on your radar. As the year comes to a close, we don't want you to miss out on any movies that we think that you might enjoy. So this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very laid back episode. We're just going to, talk the talk and walk the walk. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to our show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, all that social media garbage at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. Or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. And you can also send us a text message. If you go down to the episode notes of this episode or any of our other episodes, you're going to see a link that says send us a text message. You'll also be able to send us your movie-related questions that way, aka it's basically fan mail, courtesy of Buzzsprout, because they're awesome. We love using them as a podcast platform, and it's amazing. I love the little bells and whistles they've been adding into their services over the years. But Devin, what's going on? How's your week been? Happy hump day. It's 4:11 here in good old Music City, and the sun's already going down. I'm assuming that the sun's already down where you are.
Oh yeah, it's gone. There's no more sun. The 5 p.m. depression.
Yeah,
it's just sad.
It's terrible. It's like, man, I just got off work and I look outside. I'm like, man, feels like it's like 6-7 o'clock already. I'm like, it's 4:11 right now as recording of December 12th, December 4th, 2024. And only a few more weeks of this, I think. It's just, it's not fun. I feel like I can't enjoy myself as much anymore. Like I feel like I should be going to bed. It's like, get off work, just go straight to bed and do it all over again, But how have you been? Have you been watching anything lately outside of the movies that we're going to be talking about here? Did you start Hard Knocks yet? I think that just dropped, right?
Yeah, I actually did watch it last night. It was pretty great. It was very Steelers heavy.
Is it the whole series that's out?
No, it's just once per week. It's every Tuesday.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, I'm gonna watch that today. I've been just trying to keep up with a few shows and movies, mostly movies, because there's a lot of movies I was not able to watch in theaters because the Music City prices down here are crazy, and I don't know why, but I've been getting a lot of links for digital screeners for your consideration. It is award season, so I've been watching a lot of movies, and I got a few more left. I got to watch Nosferatu. Got that sent to me today. I got to watch Night Bitch. I can't believe
what a combo.
And I got to watch The Substance, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Got to watch that too. And I think that will complete the movies that I've been wanting to watch.
And also, you will be happy to hear that I have started Yellow Jackets.
Yes. Devin, I'm so excited. What episode are you on? Have you like a few episodes in, like 1 or 2?
Yeah, I'm on like 6.
Oh, season 1. Okay.
Yeah, definitely getting through it.
Yeah, dude, I love the dual timeline of what they're doing. Like it's good stuff. Like I love that survival horror aspects for sure. But yeah, man, season 3 is coming out next year. There's so many TV shows coming out next year. It's gonna be crazy. So, Devin, let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. We're going to be giving a movie list of 9 to 10 films that we think everyone should be watching or that should be on your radar. We're also going to be adding where you can watch these films. Some of them are in theaters only, and I know that can be a real pain, but if you go on a Saturday nights,
pun intended.
Exactly. You'll find out It's What's Inside. As you live in time through this amazing end of year. Wow, that was I don't know how well that was gonna stitch up together, but you know,
you can enjoy your Saturday night.
it might be a real pain to go to the movie theaters on a Saturday night, but if you take my old ass
and your friend Anora
and your friend Anora, you might find out that it's What's Inside or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going all over these puns. Obviously, that is just a few movies kind of stitched together we're going to be talking about here today. And like I said, we are going to be letting you know where you can watch these films. So starting off with not like a number one type of situation. This is just going to be just a hard list. There's no like worst to best. I literally just put these in random order as I was typing them out. So there is no like the number one movie that you should pick, but I think it'll be a little bit fun that we can kind of pick our favorite out of this list that we think that people should go see first, maybe, but we'll kind of save that for last. But first up on the list here is DiDi. Now, DiDi is a coming of age comedy slash drama slash dramedy. It is a film that is set in 2008 during the last months of summer before high school begins. An impressionable 13-year-old Taiwanese American boy learns what his family can't teach him: how to skate, how to flirt, and how to love your mom. I think Devin saw this first. So I'm going to let him speak on it a little bit. Then I'll give my little bit of 2 cents. And then we're going to move on to the next film on the list. But before we do, want to let everyone know that you can watch DiDi on Peacock for $7.99 a month. It's there for you to watch and stream, or it is available for video on demand. But Devin, what are your quick thoughts about this movie?
Yeah, quick thoughts. If you are a millennial around our age, so basically a 90s baby, born anywhere between 92 to 99, just in that general area, this is a must-watch movie. This is like the ultimate perfect time capsule of a movie that I think could ever be created, to be honest. Because it really felt like at times I was watching my own life back. Obviously, culturally, we're the character and I are very different, that being DiDi, but just the time frame and the life that he's living. Because I think we might be the same exact age, myself and the character.
I think so.
This is 13-year-old in 2008, so that's like right around my age. So it's like perfectly lines up. So it just makes for such a fun watch just to look back at, like all the AIM days, and you're trying to figure out life, you're trying to figure out girls, you're trying to figure out friends. Just like it's just all felt so authentic and real. I think it was very, very well done and very well shot, and I just think it's a great movie. And that last shot really, really kills you. It just hits.
It does. And honestly, I gotta agree, like they somehow managed to capture our entire high school experience in just an hour and 30 minutes. And I loved every second of it. I've been meaning to watch this movie for so long, and I just didn't have time to go see it in a theater. And then when it popped into my inbox for your consideration, courtesy of Focus Features, thank you. I was like, finally, I can like watch this and just have a blast. And it was phenomenal. I think the director, Sean Wang, a little bit more on the nose there, but he has he did a great job with this film. Me and Devin both love coming of age films, and we don't see a lot of these movies nowadays. Like not even just from like a standard coming of age movie, but like a comedy coming of age film, like Superbad, or my gosh, earlier, actually a few years ago, Booksmart came out. And then we also had, was it Good Boys as well? And we had a few others, I think earlier last year. Bottoms was one. It was kind of like a coming of age film. And we just really don't see a lot of those today.
And this one does a great job of blending in like that screen life genre. That's a thing now.
But like seriously, like when you were talking about how the film, it literally made you feel like you were in 2008. And I know that there are a lot of like Gen Alpha and like younger Gen Z people who think that like 2008 was like a billion years ago, but it's like, you know, between the AIM, between the Windows XP, getting those like
That
booted up on
startup.
computers, yeah, and even the phones, you know, like we didn't really have like quote unquote smartphones back then. We had to text with the T9 texting, and kids do not know what that is today. Not even just kids, but like I said, early or younger Gen Z, they don't know what T9 texting is because you know, it was a big thing with us when you had a full keyboard, like a physical full keyboard on your cell phone. Like that was a big deal. But now, you know, everything's so digital that it's like it's just a standard. But this film was fantastic. Again, you can watch this on Peacock starting at $7.99 per month, or you can rent it at any of your VOD places like video on demand, like Apple, Amazon, Apple's Apple TV Plus. At least that's where it says that it's streaming for free, quote unquote, or like Amazon Fandango. You can rent it there as well as other moving renting websites. But Devin, let's move on, shall we, to A Real Pain. Now, this movie, again, so DiDi was an hour and 30 minutes, and so is A Real Pain.
Just such easy watches.
It's such easy watches, and I did not know the runtime of A Real Pain until I had to pause it once to use the bathroom and came back. I was like, oh, this is only an hour and 30 minutes. This is a phenomenal movie. It is written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, the actor, for everyone who knows him and all of his stuff. It is, again, not maybe you have a little bit of the coming of age in there, but it's more of a family cousin dramedy where two cousins backpack through Poland and they are going to visit the home of their grandmother, and they start to kind of rediscover each other. You know, they are family, but they're more like a strange family altogether. This film is only in theaters as of right now. I don't know if it might be coming to Disney Plus later on, because this is technically underneath Disney, even though it's like Searchlight Pictures. But, you know, you go to your AMC, your Regal Theater, things of that nature. But Devin, what are your quick thoughts on A Real Pain?
Yeah, quick thoughts. I didn't really know what to expect going into this one. I didn't really know anything about it except for it was written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg and it was starring Jesse Eisenberg. So going into it, I just had an open mind, and I think that was kind of the best way to go about it, because it kind of just, it was a nice, pleasant surprise of a movie. Obviously, I've been a fan of Jesse Eisenberg for a while now. I think he always does good work. And I think this is his directorial debut, I imagine. I think he did a great job behind the camera as well as on camera. And I think the star of the show was Kieran Culkin. I've not seen him in many things. Obviously, I've seen Succession, where he has risen to grand fame. But I think just his character in this movie is just so complex and dynamic, and just he's like the life of the party. You like love him, you want to be friends with him, but then you can see the pain behind it all, and it's just so well done. So I think he might get some Oscar buzz for this one. I think it's very well deserved.
I think so as well. And for a second, I thought that The Art of Self-Defense, that film, I thought that was Jesse Eisenberg's directorial debut, but that was actually Riley Stearns. So
That was another great one.
you liked it.
Yeah.
I did not. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. But as far as The Real Pain, I had to echo a lot what Devin was saying. I myself actually recently was able to spend a good chunk of time with one of my cousins that I haven't seen in a while. And as soon as I popped it on, I didn't really know anything about this film going in. Like you said, you know, it's Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, and they just have this electric chemistry along with the other members of this cast as well, where it really opens your eyes. It is very poignant at times. It is emotional, more emotional than I ever thought that it would be. And the ending itself just killed me. altogether. But I think it is a nice reminder to reach out to, those family members that you haven't seen in a while, where, some family members, especially cousins, you kind of just end up drifting apart just due to life and whatnot. But I think it's really important to reconnect. And I love that right out of the gate, Jesse Eisenberg was able to create something very special and very memorable, because I would love to pick this up on Blu-ray as well as DiDi. So definitely watch this one if you can. It's in theaters. I know that, it's not necessarily ideal for a lot of people, but I think a lot of people should see this in theaters because it is a great freaking movie. So Devin, let's move on to the third one of our list, which is Saturday Night, directed by Jason Reitman. And man, I gotta say, I'm going to start this off with my thoughts. I've never really watched Saturday Night Live growing up. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just, it wasn't really a thing in our household. So I knew of it. I knew of some of the skits. I thought it was very funny, but I never really got into a regular routine of watching it. And I'm kind of disappointed that I never got to. I I was thinking one day, I was like, maybe I should just go through everything, like the entire like Saturday Night lineup. I'm like, that's gonna take me a long time.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. So I might just have to just start watching.
I'm sure they have there's best of lists, I imagine.
Yeah, and I think that's what people, or at least someone like me, would like to do. But this film clocks in about an hour and 49 minutes. Again, it is directed by Jason Reitman, and I loved it. I felt a little bit of a disconnect because obviously I know some of these characters, or some of these, actors that these other actors were portraying, like Steve Buscemi, and of course you had Chevy Chase as well. So it's like, there's a few familiar faces. I'm like, oh, that's so-and-so, even without having to hear them call out their name altogether. But Devin, I'll let you take the reins on this one. What are your quick thoughts on Saturday Night?
Yeah, I actually did grow up a bit of a Saturday Night Live fan. It was just kind of a thing that you like to tune into every once in a while, kind of depending on who the host is. Like, you might want to watch it if you ever if you're a big fan of whoever's hosting. But I never had watched like the original Saturday Night Live episodes. Those are like 1975. So It definitely was also a nice learning experience watching this. I'm not actually entirely sure how accurate it is. I haven't looked into that, how accurate the story is that they wrote for this movie. But I imagine it might be pretty accurate because it is written by Jason Reitman, and he has connections to all those original cast. So I think this is a great frenetic, like crazily paced movie where it just feels like, it kind of feels like Birdman, like that movie, just the kind of the pacing of it. Except it's centered around the opening night of SNL, and I think that's a great concept for a movie. I think they delivered on it as well, and I think the casting was pretty top notch, top to bottom. Gabrielle LaBelle as Lorne Michaels killed it. And also the John Belushi actor. I think I saw that he was also possibly... Yeah,
John Belushi. I'm sorry. I said Steve Buscemi earlier. That was not what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's similar last names. But I think people have been like fan casting him as Wolverine, which is kind of funny because he's he's a smaller guy and he's got that gruff, but he did great as well.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to see the history of television. It's to me, it's always like endlessly captivating because it's just, TV is so important to me, and it's so cool just to see how things are really kind of just like, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to like a film, a TV show, what have you. And this had like the mixture of like the anxiety level of even like Uncut Gems and like The Bear just like mixed into one, where it's like, if you've ever worked in show business, it might not necessarily triggering, but it will definitely probably call back some crazy moments you might have had while dealing with things on set, like right before you go live. But it's It's a great film. Like I said, I just wish I had more of a personal connection with Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night, the movie. Again, you can watch this in theaters. It is fantastic. You can also, actually, no, I believe, I'm sorry, I'm looking at justwatch.com. It looks like it is available to rent for like VOD, video on demand, altogether. But if you have Spectrum, it's leaving about 5 days. So that's very sad. But yeah, you can rent it on various video on demand websites, or just buy it outright and watch it that way. But definitely put that on your list because it's an amazing.
I imagine it'll be on Peacock pretty soon.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So another one here. Let's move on to My Old Ass. Another coming of age film, which broke both of us. There's a few others on this list that actually broke me a little bit more, but this one still broke me a lot because it's coming of age film and it is phenomenal. You can actually watch it right now on Prime Video. It is fan-frickin-tastic. It is another hour and 30-minute movie. We're killing it with these hour and 30-minute recommendations. It is like a romance dramedy type situation. Director here is Megan Park. She is phenomenal because she's works on things such as Room, Central Intelligence, What If, The Fallout, things of that nature. And my gosh, Devin, I love this movie. This movie also stars Aubrey Plaza, starring in this film, as well as a newcomer that I actually was not familiar with prior to, but I believe her name is Maisie Stella. So she's only been in a few things altogether: Poetic License, Flowerville Street. It looks like that's coming out in 2025. So this is one of her very first like films that she's been in, but yeah, it's insane. I love Megan Park. I know she directed The Fallout for sure. That starred Jenna Ortega. I think it was during like the COVID situation, because we cover that on the show here on the show. The Fallout, not Fallout. But Devin, what are your quick thoughts on My Old Ass?
Yeah, another one I didn't really know anything about going into it. I had just seen like the poster pop up at a couple theaters, and it was just like kind of grabbed your eye because it's like, oh, that's an interesting title, My Old Ass. And then you see Aubrey Plaza, and you're like, all right, that's pretty much good enough to get me at least in the door. And then when you watch the movie, it just kind of just one of the bigger surprises of the year, I would say. It's a very interesting concept, kind of like time travel, like rom-coms, coming of age, all in one.
Very A24 almost, I would say.
Yeah, and it all just comes together so well. And I think it definitely has its heartwarming moments, it has its comedic moments, and it just all works. And I think the main actress you mentioned, Macy Stella, she was kind of giving me like Edge of 17, Haley Steinfeld vibes.
Yes,
like,
dude. Yes.
Like the start of possibly a blooming career. We'll see how that works out. But I think she did a great job in this one.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Aubrey Plaza is great as always. And I just think it's a great coming of age movie. It's on Amazon, so there's really no reason not to watch it because you should have Amazon Prime Video. Like it's just right there. So yeah, I told my sister to watch it. Hopefully she will soon.
Hopefully, yeah. And I think Zoe Rose Bryant, one of the top commenters on Letterboxd for My Old Ass, she said the only positive experience anyone has ever had on shrooms. And Daphne Keane, actually reviewed My Old Ass. She said, "Gay, Lakes, Canada, and a dude named Chad. Aubrey Plaza, delightful."
Sums it up.
Yeah, thumbs up from a lot of different people. My small little review on there was My Old Ass was crying. This is the perfect coming of age film, and it definitely is. Well, like you said, it is. It's something new, different, something I would actually expect from an A24 film, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I didn't really know too much about it. I saw the trailer in theaters. It just popped up one day, and I was hooked. I was just hooked, and I was like, this looks amazing. Like, I don't know why people aren't talking about this, but that's why we're here, Devin. That's why we're talking about it right now. So definitely go watch My Old Ass. Again, you can stream that on Prime Video if you have Prime Video. If not, I believe it is also on video on demand as well. It might still be in theaters in a few places depending on your area, but if you're able to watch it at home, just watch it at home. It's an hour and 30 minutes, and you'll thank us for it later. All right, Devin, let's move on to Anora.
Oh, yeah. The longest one on the list.
The longest one. Director Sean Baker stars Mickey Madsen. If you do not know who that is, she's been in a few films.
You're gonna find out soon.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna find out. If you have been following Mickey Madsen for a while, you've known that she's been in things such as, I believe it was.
I think it's Mikey.
Is it Mikey?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was Mickey. Mikey Madsen. I do apologize there. So Mikey Madsen, she has been in Scream 5, which is like the requel, or basically just Scream 5 because it's just titled Scream. And then she was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was
that movie is just
crazy.
It sprouted out the entirety of the next generation of actors.
I agree.
Basically.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Anora is now playing in theaters. That is the only place that you can find it or watch it right now. Coming in not an hour and 30 minutes. I'm getting a little bit complacent myself. It comes in at 2 hours and 19 minutes. Devin, what are your quick thoughts on Anora?
Yeah, quick thoughts. I think this is just kind of like a wild ride. Sean Baker is known for kind of like a slice of life with a bit of a crazy tinge to it. He did other movies like Red Rocket. I still haven't seen that one, but I need to. Florida Project is the one that I did see. That was definitely an interesting one. And he also did Tangerine, which I believe is the one that was shot on an iPhone. That's kind of what gave it some buzz back then. Yeah, he's just kind of like a slice of life type of director. And I think he does a great job of that. And I think this movie does a great job of showing that, and then also just taking you on a ride that you don't really know where it's going to go next. I think that's the best part about it. It's just like a wild journey. You can't really ever predict what's happening next because it's unpredictable. Like Anora, I guess her name, she prefers Annie, which is kind of funny that the movie is called Anora. But she's just a very, very interesting character. Mikey Madsen, just insane, just killed it. I think she's also going to get a lot of Oscar buzz, which is what everyone's predicting. And I just these characters are just so interesting and so dynamic, and it's just they're all unknowns for the most part. Just like these smaller actors getting their shot and just killing it. Like the entire cast up and down, even the Russian ones kind of steal the show.
Honestly, I think obviously Mikey being like the standout here, like you said, this is pure cinema, just like all these other films we've been talking about and the other films we will be mentioning here soon. But I agree. I actually just watched this yesterday, and it's actually funny when you go to Letterboxd, it actually has the Anora lettering for Letterboxd altogether. And I think that's pretty cool. But like you said, this is a wild ride of a movie. It's been a great year for Neon. Yeah, it's been a huge year for Neon, man. Like a huge, huge year, which is great. And the tagline for this is love is a hustle, literally, literally and figuratively. It is kind of just a this a stripper meets this guy from Russia, and things just happen. It's just a slice, like you said,
just go on a ride.
Right, yeah, you just go on a ride, and it's a slice of life film. Definitely do not take your kids to see this movie. This is like rated R. The
very first shot is very in depth, like one shot of a strip club.
Yeah, very, very in depth. So it is one of those films where it is chaotic, like you said. I think the Russians collectively are so funny. Like when things just go down, just the bantering, the bickering back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think it's written so well. And I think Sean Baker has done an amazing job with this. I've not seen Red Rocket either. I know what it's about, but I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So, but yeah, Anora is one of those films where it's raunchy. It is like a fun comedy at times. And like most Neon movies and like most A24 movies, they kind of just end. But it does tell a complete story of these series of unfortunate events where, you know, you're kind of just thinking off the top of your head and you're just, it's literally, this movie is kind of like the perfect example of people who just go with the flow and they don't really have an agenda. Things happen, consequences come out of those actions, and you know, you kind of just let the chips fall where they may. I think that's like the best way to describe it. But again, this movie is only available to watch in theaters. Definitely go watch it in theaters if you can, because it is a great film. Again, it's rated R. Do not take your children to go see this movie. Do not take your children to go see this movie, please. Anyway, let's move on to our next one, which I actually...
Yes, this one's going to be all you. I haven't seen this one.
It's going to be all me because it is We Live in Time. It is a A24 film starring Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield, directed by John Crowley. It is a romantic movie, but it's also a drama where it's dealing with cancer. And that is a very important aspect for me when it comes to this film. And due to my own personal experiences with people that I know who've had cancer in my life, it is rated R. It gets a little steamy. It definitely gets a little steamy out there for sure. But it is just, again, this is also a slice of life film. I had to stop watching this movie about halfway through because things happen and I was like, I had to recollect myself, Devin. I had to recollect myself there for a bit because it was not like it's like too much, but it slowly hits you. And I think for people who have had people in their life that they've known that they have either lost to cancer or are currently battling cancer, I think this is going to speak to them. But the romance here is perfect. Dude, let me tell you, the romantic comedy, the chemistry between Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield it's incredible. And I was like, this movie was made for me because it's got two of my favorite actors in it. And it's just one of those films where you're just like, it hits you on so many levels that I don't think it's going to be a film for everyone, of course, but it is about an up and coming chef and a recent divorcee that find their lives are forever changed when a chance encounter kind of brings them together. And the entire film spans across like a decade. It's movingly like romantic, deeply. And you do jump back and forth between moments in time, no pun intended. But as long as you pay attention to Florence Pugh's hair, you'll be all right. Because that's kind of, it's almost like what they did. This film reminds me of what they did with Greta Gerwig did with Little Women, where it does jump between the past and the present, not only just by the clothes that the girls are wearing, but the tone on screen and just certain haircuts and whatnot. But once you figure it out, it's like, okay, I see what's going on here. And it's a beautiful movie, man. I absolutely loved it. But that's just my 2 cents on it, just my quick thoughts. Because
yeah, it's definitely on the list.
I'm telling you, I had to stop for a second. I was like, I had to recollect myself, man. I'm telling you. Anyway, let's move on to our next film here. Only 3 more left here for you guys. Have you seen Love Lies Bleeding, Devin?
I have. Back when it first came out on Max, I popped it on.
Yeah, dude. I just finished it today. This movie, again, Devin just mentioned that it is available on Max to watch, and I believe on Prime Video on Demand with a subscription there, so you can watch it there. A lot of A24 films are there, and I believe We Live in Time, that movie right now is available on video on demand. I'm assuming We Live in Time will also be coming to Max because
they have that deal.
Yeah, they have a deal. So a lot of their movies, a lot of A24 films are coming to Max collectively. But onto the next A24 film on this list, Love Lies Bleeding, and we have another A24 movie on here as well. But we'll get to that later. Devin, what are your quick thoughts on Love Lies Bleeding? Because I got to tell you, I had a ball with this one.
Yeah, this is kind of just another wild ride of a movie, like start to finish. This one's about hour 44, so nothing too crazy long, but definitely has a good amount to it. And I think Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien just definitely did a great job of this one. He had a nice Dave Franco appearance in there as kind of the douchey character. He did a great job of that. But yeah, this is definitely a wild ride, like a 90s drug binge filled bodybuilder, like Thelma and Louise.
Yeah,
it's just like a lot of stuff in one. I think it works for the most part. Like most A24 movies, the ending is very divisive, I imagine, because it goes places that are just way out there from like the rest of the movie. Like it just kind of separates itself towards the end to something completely different. It feels a bit off. In this one, I can't lie. Like it just feels like the ending just kind of went completely unexpected, like, and not necessarily in a good way, but just like this is what we're doing way, because it had kept a similar tone throughout the whole movie, and then the ending just kind of goes off the rails. But I think other than that, it was a great ride, very exciting, just to see where things go, and very well acted as well.
I agree. I actually listened to Chris Stuckman's review on this earlier, and he enjoyed it as much as I did. It is like that thriller Thelma and Louise ride, but it has those horror aspects in there as well.
Yeah, Rose Glass has a background in horror. I believe she did Saint Maud, which was a crazy one a few years ago.
I did not get a chance to watch that movie, but I hear it is crazy. But I think I heard Saint Maud was really, really good, like you just mentioned, altogether. But I know that with Love Lies Bleeding, going from Saint Maud to Love Lies Bleeding, I know it can be kind of, because that was like not necessarily her directorial debut. I don't believe so. Well, at least according to Letterboxd, she's worked on a few other films, but Saint Maud being like her first like big break, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was her first feature film, looks like.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, her first feature film. She was born in 1990, so she's not too far off from our age altogether. So she's done a pretty bang up job. But yeah, Love Lies Bleeding. Honestly, Kristen Stewart continues.
Her evolution is really insane from what she came from the Twilight days, which was not much. Like there's not a lot of acting going on in that movie.
Yeah, like her and Robert Pattinson, but it's crazy because everyone's like, yeah, like, oh, Kristen Stewart, like people just remember from Twilight. It's like if you haven't followed her career or Robert Pattinson's outside of that, you would not know what they're up to today. And she continues to show and just continues to like show us her real acting chops. Because, you know, back then, like she was a teenager. They were YA films. But like she, like throughout the years, like with Spencer, she's Academy nominee for Spencer that came out a few years ago, and she was really great in that. And it's like for an American to have a British accent, it was just amazing. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Love Lies Bleeding, great freaking film. Like it's raunchy. It's bloody. I didn't mind the ending as much. It was towards the ending where there was like a weird thing that was going on with steroids, but You know what? It's A24, and I was like, this is fine. Like this is one of the best A24 films that we've had this year. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed Maxine that came out earlier this year. Maxine was okay, but this was like, this is everything. Like it has the action, and for Kristen Stewart to do the stunts that she did, it was just phenomenal. I was like, this is Kristen Stewart, but like she's been this way for a while. So it's like
another great blend of genres.
Yeah, Katie O'Brien, she actually used to be a bodybuilder herself, so this is right up her alley. I think Katie O'Brien and Kristen Stewart have phenomenal chemistry, and Katie O'Brien was also in Twisters earlier this year, and I totally forgot about that up until now. But Love Lies Bleeding, again, it is streaming on Max, so you can watch it there. It is phenomenal. Just go watch it.
Now we're sticking with the A24 corner here.
Yeah, we got one more A24 film here, and then we have one more after that, and then we will be done. So the next film on the list is Heretic. Again, it is underneath the A24 umbrella. This film is still playing in theaters, so definitely go watch it. If you're feeling a little bit intrigued about religion and whatnot. Directors of this film is Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Runtime is around an hour and 51 minutes. It is a horror mystery thriller film, and Hugh Grant has never been scarier, ever. In this movie, it is literally just a sinister man who ensnares two young missionaries in a cruel game of cat and mouse. And that's probably the best way that I can explain it. But Devin, what are your quick thoughts on this film?
Yeah, this one was always intriguing just because you get the A24 backing, and then you get Hugh Grant in there in a horror role, which is definitely an odd mix because he's usually the rom-com guy, like throughout the 90s and 2000s. Like that's just kind of his role. But it's definitely cool to see him branch out. And for those of you who don't know, Scott Beck and Brian Woods were also the writers of Quiet Place. So that's where they came from. So they have that horror background, and they have nice twists on the horror genre that keep things fresh. I think they definitely did a great job here. It's kind of like a religious horror movie, which is an interesting subsect of horror movies that has a couple cool entries into it. Saint Maud's actually another one that would fill into that nicely. It's kind of a nice coincidence, but I think this did a great job of just kind of discussing religion without being overbearing about it. Like it didn't like shun people who believe in religion, but it also didn't force the religion down your throat or anything like that. It kept things pretty neutral while also just kind of keeping an open mind and exploring different ideas, because that's what life's all about. You gotta figure out what you believe in and what you're all about. And this movie does a great job of showing that with the iterations is what the character kept calling things. There was the great scene where he talked about Monopoly and Creep and just kind of iterations and how things kind of repeat over the years. And it was very interesting to see that. And I think Hugh Grant did a great job as just a very creepy guy. And having seen this before Yellow Jackets, it was very nice to see Sophie Thatcher for the first time, because I had not seen her before. And I think her and Chloe East, who play the two sisters, well, they're not blood sisters, but their job is a sister, I guess you could say, in the religious sense. But it was great seeing those two newcomers kind of leading the way here, and I think they both did a great job. Yeah, it didn't really go exactly where you would expect, which I think was nice. Like, it's not just a basic trapped in a house thriller. Like, there's definitely some more going on that keeps things fresh.
So I didn't mean to cut you off there really quick, but Sophie Thatcher also is in, well, she's a FX artist in Maxine, which I did not know. And she's also in The Boogeyman that came out last year.
Oh yeah, I did watch that last year. That was okay.
Yeah, so I still got to watch that one. But I do echo a lot what you're saying. It's very interesting how this movie it's basically like comparing Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism to the game of Monopoly and what was fast food restaurants as well. Like there's a lot of crazy.
It's just very, very well written.
It really is. Yeah. And, seeing Sophie Thatcher, I'm glad that you were able kind of to get more of the insight of what she is before you started watching Yellow Jackets. it is a great film where it doesn't like question your beliefs, but it just makes you think about human history and the concepts of religion and how people have used religion to control groups of people throughout time. I think that's kind of the best way.
All about control.
It's all about control. Great video.
And just another classic A24 ending.
Yeah.
Very open-ended, just kind of
a good one though. A good
I think that's one of the better ones where you could have a few different ideas as to where this movie ended up and what actually happened. And I think it's all pretty valid.
I agree. I definitely agree. But definitely watch Heretic when you can. As we mentioned before, since Max and A24 have a deal, it will probably be hitting Max at some point. But as of right now, it is only in theaters to watch. Heretic, definitely watch it. It's a good time, and it's a very dialogue heavy film. So it's not like there's a lot of action going on. There's a little bit, but it is more of the back and forth cat and mouse situation, as we mentioned earlier. Devin, let's move on to our last movie here before we close out here, because I have to leave here in a bit.
Yeah, I'm actually glad I got you to watch this one just in time.
Yeah, it is called It's What's Inside, and this is on Netflix. You can just watch it on Netflix. It is a thriller, science fiction, mystery, comedy, sci-fi, horror, a lot of genres blending in here. It's basically about a group of college students, or college friends, reuniting around a mysterious magical suitcase. And the runtime is 1 hour and 43 minutes. This movie kind of reminded me of, I think there's a show on Netflix called Friends from College, or Friends, I think something like that. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, but I'm going to let Devin take the reins since he watched it first. Devin, what are your quick thoughts on It's What's Inside?
Yeah, I didn't really know too much about it going in. I had heard some buzz. Like apparently it was like a Sundance darling when it like made the rounds, and then Netflix I think just bought the rights to it. So it isn't like Netflix produced and made it, but they just kind of became the distributor for it. So I think that was a great get by them. And I think this is a perfect Netflix movie to just throw on. Like it's very entertaining. The editing is insane. Like I've never seen anything like this as far as movie goes. Just the colors and the quick flashes and the way everything comes together. It just works out so well for a body swapping movie. I think a lot of other movies can learn from this as far as techniques go for if you want to do a similar type of genre moving forward. I think it's just done so well. I loved all the characters. They're all very unique and interesting. And I love where the story goes because it does not go. I don't think I have a hard time thinking that anyone could have guessed the ending for this one because it was out of nowhere, but I think it worked out really well in the end. It's definitely an easy watch. Just throw it on, like I said, and it's about 1 hour 43. It's got a bunch of actors I've never really seen before, but I think they all killed it. And very colorful, very cool. It's just a good vibes movie.
I agree. It's truly one of the most like fun viewing experiences I think I've had in a very long time.
It's like a movie that you want to take notes during because there's just so much happening.
Yeah, there's a lot happening for this film. It is directed by Greg Jardin. Again, it's on Netflix. Like it is the perfect kind of like college reunion of, what could have been versus like what kind of happened. But like Devin said, the editing here is phenomenal and it just hooks you in from start to finish. The editing is so tight. It's so airtight that like even from the last frame, it just boom, cuts straight to the credits. And no, I did not expect anything to happen. I was like, oh, there's more towards the end. And I was like, oh, wow. Did not expect that whatsoever. It is kind of like bodies, like you mentioned to me, Devin. That was a good way to explain it. I dare say definitely more intriguing than bodies, but like,
yeah, I definitely liked it more.
Like I still love B3. I'll just call it that altogether. But that was interesting. But this really takes up to the next level. And I think it really is the editing, the color grading, the production behind this. The acting, of course, is really good. And the writing as well, where, there are some lingering feelings between certain college friends that some are getting married, some are in very unhappy relationships, and the truth kind of just all comes out in a weird, messed up way.
It's one of the biggest surprises of the year, I would say.
I definitely agree. Like I joked on my letterbox and said, Netflix made a good movie. Netflix has obviously made other good movies, but knowing that this was now picked up by Netflix, it's like, okay, they distributed it, but hats off to Greg Jardin and cast and crew.
And it just feels like no one's talking about it, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, I know.
I will say Dead Meat did a podcast on it. They did a great job of breaking everything down. So if you are interested in just discussing more about it, then definitely go. They did it like a whole hour and a half on it.
Yeah, the technical level here of this film is just insane. There are a few things I wish they were able to go a little bit deeper with some of the characters, but for what we got,
I think imagine this as like a series. I think that would have been so cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, It's What's Inside. Like, I think that they can definitely make a series or make.
I also think a part of the issue is the title. Like, that's just not a good title. I think that might be why it's not sticking as much.
Yeah, because it is a weird one for sure, but overall, I really, really loved it. And again, you can watch this on Netflix. It's around an hour and 43 minutes altogether. But with all that said, that actually does conclude today's episode. I know that we said that we were going to pick an episode, or not pick an episode, pick a movie really quick. Devin, out of the 9 movies that we have here, what was one that really stuck out to you? Was it Anora?
I mean, looking back at the list, I think DiDi just hit the closest to home. Like, it really just felt like watching your own middle school / high school life over again.
Yeah, I agree. It's between DiDi and probably We Live in Time, but I think I'm leaning more towards DiDi because it's more hopeful and just more nostalgic altogether. But yeah, I would have to agree. DiDi is probably the one that really stuck out to me as much. Again, DiDi is streaming on Peacock for those who want to watch it. But with all that said, that does conclude today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Film Optix. That is Optix with an X. And remember to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover in need, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love for the Film Optix podcast. And now let's take a sneak peek of what's coming up next on the show. As far as new review releases, you can listen to our Gladiator 2 review, and you can listen to our Wicked review, as well as our The Penguin Season 1 review. We've had a lot of fun these past few weeks. And for upcoming releases, we have another A24 movie we're going to be covering, Y2K. Very up the alley almost of DiDi in a way. Not really, a little bit prior to DiDi, but also Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and possibly the Mufasa prequel. And with all that said, and again, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay connected with us by following us on Twitter for the latest updates, and Threads and Blue Sky, all that social media garbage, Instagram as well. That was Devin, and I'm Christian signing off. And remember, life is like a movie, so go out there and make it a blockbuster. And if you like this style of episode that we did here today, I'd like to do more of them, kind of break it up in between reviews and whatnot. Just let us know what you think, whether it's on social media or just, send us some fan mail. But we'll see you guys later.
Peace.